But when you get to be 17, it ain't cute anymore. And when a little child will put their hands on the hip and just, you shut up. And you can get laughing then, but when they get to be 12, and they got their hand on their hip and tell you to shut up, that is not cute. This kind. Listen, if you don't nip certain things in the bud when they're down here, when it grows up here, see, you can take a little tree that's growing wild in your yard and almost yank it up with your own bare hands and pull it out of the root, but let it grow up and get some real diameter to it. You're going to have to get a chainsaw. This kind, say this kind, this kind. And so we want to be able to deal with this kind, and this is what Jesus is dealing with. It is interesting that whenever you see external behavior generally comes out of some kind of a motivation. That there's a motive or reason for it. It's interesting, Webster defines motive as that within the individual rather than outside of the individual, which causes him or her to act. That within the individual instead of that is outside of the individual that causes him or her to act. There's a motive behind every action. And what causes frustration to us is when we don't understand the motive. Why did they do this? Have you ever explained to a person, you know I don't like this, and then you see them do it anyway, and it frustrates you because you know that you told them I don't like this, and they do it anyway? And you ask them not to do this again, and then they do it again, and you get frustrated because you know the issue is not that they don't know, but we get frustrated. Why do you keep on doing this to me? And the thing that frustrates us is because we expect them to do better because we have instructed them better. But when you're dealing with this kind, see, if you knew that they were bipolar, maybe it wouldn't frustrate you because now you understand the condition behind it. And it's like they can't help it. So I don't get frustrated if I know they can't help it. But if I believe you can help it and you're doing something, I get frustrated on the inside because you're doing this. But this kind. See, when you find that something on the inside of the person that causes him or her to act, it means that all of our actions have motives or reasons. And they come from deeply felt needs on the inside, and no one else can fill them for us. And see what happens to a lot of them. The devil approaches us. Most of his approaches come in 4 different directions. Number 1, delays. Delays. They're waiting on the husband. They're waiting on the wife. They're waiting on this job. They're waiting on the house. They're waiting on the car. See, that's why they miss it. He never told us to wait on things. He told us to wait on the Lord. Wait on the Lord and be of good courage, and he will strengthen your heart. They that wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. Are you listening? Always wait on the Lord. You will get exasperated waiting on the person to change, waiting on the job to come, waiting on the money to come, waiting on the loan to be approved. When you wait on the thing instead of waiting on the king, you get frustrated. They that wait, and the devil frustrates so many people because they have to wait, because they're getting older and their body clock is ticking and they haven't had the baby yet. And they're getting into an age and they're wondering, is anybody going to want to marry me at this age? And they are delayed and they're wondering. May I just remind you that all things are possible to him that believes. Don't let a delay get you frustrated. Because sometimes what you think is a devilish disappointment is nothing but a divine delay. God has a reason sometimes for delaying it, and because we don't understand the delay, we become frustrated at what we don't understand. The second thing that the devil uses is deception. Deception. He'll use a delay, then he'll use a deception. He'll use somebody to make you think this is the one. Oh, you think you finna, you done waited all this time and you finally think this is the one. And you get deceived. They have painted the picture that they all this in a bag of chips. And then when you open the bag, you realize how much air is in it. You thought you were getting something full, and about a third of the bag is in there, and 2/3 of the stuff is air. And you are frustrated over the deception of something that looked like it had a full deck. And so many cards were missing that you couldn't play Tonk. You couldn't play 21. Deception. And we get frustrated because we get deceived. There are delays. If he doesn't get you by delay, he'll try to come by deception. If he doesn't get you by deception, he will get you by distraction. Psst. Hey, let me holler at you, shorty. You'll be on your purpose, on your mission, trying to handle your business, trying to turn your dream into a reality, and somebody will distract you with another opportunity, offering you something that is good, that is the enemy of something that is best for you, and you get distracted, sidetracked, and you lose the bush thing that's in the bush because you've gone after two things over here in another bush. And you lose the bone in your mouth going after two in the bush. Lost your focus because you got distracted. Anybody know what I'm talking about? You recognize any of these tactics that the devil has tried to use on you because he's delayed something and got you frustrated and mad with God, or because somebody got deceived because they thought this is the one, and then they get with the joker and get beat up, and then he done got all their money and done had them to sign for something on their credit, and then you find out how many other folks he done been with, and he told you that this was his second marriage, and you find out that it's his fourth. Deception. Distraction. He'll get you through distraction. Just psst, you minding your own business and he gets you distracted. Here you are praying every day and then somebody invites you. You're trying to fast and somebody done bake you a cake. Somebody give you a fish sandwich or chicken sandwich. And I mean, at any other time during the week, but it's when you take the time to fast, somebody's trying to distract you from what God is leading you to do. If he doesn't get you through delays, he'll come through deception. If he doesn't get you through deception, he'll come through distraction. If he doesn't get you through distraction, he'll come fourthly through disappointment. And he'll try to disappoint your life. He'll just bring so much disappointment where you were expecting this and expecting that, and it just didn't pan out. You were hoping that this is going to be the one, that I'm going to close this sale, I'm going to close this thing, and then at the last minute it falls through the crack and you're just disappointed. You can get so disappointed with things that you thought that were promising to you, that you knew you'd already banked on it. I had one of my brothers, we thought some money was coming in from a particular sale of a particular piece of property. My brother had already gone out and spent his money before the deal was closed. He just already obligated himself. He'd already spent the money before the money came in. And he was disappointed because the deal was off. It's bad when you had so much faith and confidence that this is going through that you spend the money in advance. Because you know by the time I get my bill, this money, the check will have come in. And then you find out that you were dealing with a deceiver who didn't have an ability to close the sale. And you can get awfully disappointed. You'd be surprised. Disappointment is perhaps the greatest tool that the devil uses to distract his people. Disappointment. I cannot tell you how many people have walked away from God because they got disappointed over something that they expected God to do for them. They expected God, and they used the disappointment. He uses delays, he uses deception, he uses distraction, he uses disappointment. Did you know that one psychologist mentioned that by the time a person is 18 years old, that they have been put down over 100,000 times. No wonder something is wrong with this generation. Can you imagine that every time, and you don't even understand what a put down is. Sometimes when a child comes and pulls on your leg and they're trying to get your attention just because they want some affection from you. And you're reading the paper and you say, get away from here. That's a put down to that child. Because the message that has been sent to the child is that the newspaper is more important than I am. That they're reading their mail is more important than I am. That they're watching their favorite program on television is more important than I am. It's a put down. Can you imagine after being put down over 100,000 times by the time you're 18 years old, how that would make a child feel? And you wonder why they do stuff like I don't care because you didn't care when I was trying to get your attention. And then they do something bizarre because they'll say they didn't get me their attention then, but I bet I'll get it now. When I've got to call them from the hospital or from the jailhouse, I will get it now. When they have done something that is lunacy, when they have done something that is crazy, they'll get it now. It's amazing. Can you imagine? How do we expect people to do positive things when they've been put down over 100,000 times by the time they're 18 years old? It is insanity. But here's the thing is that he took him to the disciples. This man, this father had taken his children to the disciples. You know, there are some things that disciples just cannot fix. There's something that disciples can't fix, and sometimes people will bring them to righteous people, praying folks. They'll say, you know what, if I can get them to Bishop, I know my child will be straightened out. Listen, Bishop is not Jesus. I am not twisted about that. I am not Jesus. I am not confused in my role. I work for him. I do. I work for him. I'm not Jesus. There are certain things that I think that he designed. He built failure in the system so your faith would not be in his disciples. He had to bring them to Jesus. And every now and then you'll be trying to run to the church trying to get a little help, but you got to turn your face toward heaven. I mean, when you get it real serious, you're going to have to go to Jesus for yourself. You're going to have to say, Jesus, keep me near the cross. You have to say, Father, I stretch my hands to thee. No other help I know. If thou withdraw thyself from me, God, where else can I go? Oh, the consecrated cross I bear till death shall set me free. Yes, there is a cross for everyone, and there is a cross for me. There's sometimes you got to go to Jesus for yourself. He didn't mean for the disciples to be able to work everything out. Sometimes you got to turn your plate down. That's why he said, this kind. You won't be able to get in a prayer line and get this one delivered. You're going to have to pray through this one yourself. You're going to have to turn your plate down yourself. When you really got a serious problem, you need the man himself. There are some things that are accomplished through human effort. And then there are other things that are demonic in nature. If it is demonic, if it is satanic, counseling won't fix it. Drugs will not fix it. Relaxation therapy and exercise, that won't fix it.
Thank you for watching Power for Living with Bishop Dale C. Bronner. Until next time, God bless you.